In today's video, I'm going to share with you the real cost of Amazon FBA, and specifically the real cost of selling private label products via Amazon FBA. I'll explain that a little bit more in a second. So basically what I've done is I've literally broken down all of the costs and kind of when you will incur those costs if you decide to sell private label products on Amazon FBA. So these are, this is the real cost of Amazon FBA for my wife and I. And this is also from kind of speaking with other sellers at different events, connecting with them on social media like Facebook and other places. So these are very real numbers. And I'll go ahead and kind of explain it a little bit more. It'll make a little bit more sense. Okay. But first, there are a few different ways to make money. Well, there's a lot of different ways to make money online, and there are definitely multiple ways to make money on Amazon. So, and specifically to make money on Amazon FBA, you can do what's called retailer online arbitrage, which is essentially buying name brand products really inexpensively and then reselling them online, specifically on Amazon or Amazon FBA for profit. You can enter into wholesaling contracts, and that's a whole thing of itself. Drop shipping is another option, and then private labeling, which is what we're going to talk about today specifically. Okay, so this may be what you think of when you think of Amazon FBA, but there's actually a distinction. Okay, so private labeling or creating and selling private label products on Amazon is essentially, you're creating your own product from scratch. You're partnering with this. You're not reselling an existing product, like with wholesaling or with arbitrage or even drop shipping, right? Those are all products that already exist. With private labeling, essentially what you're doing is creating a brand new product, creating your own private label product, right? So you find, supplier to create your product and you ship it and all of that kind of stuff, but you own it. It's yours. You're not reselling anything. Okay, so that's kind of a one distinction I want to make, and that's what we're going to be covering here. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a second, but let's go ahead and actually get into it now. So number one, the first step in my view and kind of the way that I've structured this of beginning to sell products, or if you're interested in selling private label products on Amazon, is product research, right? Kind of identifying a product and ultimately a market that you want to serve. And your goal is trying to find an unmet need, right? There's an issue, there's a pain point, there's a problem that currently exists in a very specific market, and then you're going to come up with a creative way to solve that problem using a product. That the product that you create could be very similar to something that already exists in the sense of it's not a completely new invention, right? It shouldn't be the same thing though. It should definitely be differentiated, but it could already kind of be similar to what already exists, or you could potentially create an entirely new invention. It's really up to you. But for the product research phase, there's a lot of different tools that I use. Most of them are free, and I have a bunch of videos here on the YouTube channel about that. If you guys need any questions or help with that, be sure to comment below. I'm more than happy to direct you in that direction. But other than that, other than the free tools, there's some paid tools that I will always use for product research. That is Helium 10, and Launch specifically. Okay, and really for my product research, when I'm looking to launch or source a new product, I can find multiple new product opportunities within a 1 month period. It's really not that hard to do. And again, these are two of the tools that I use. I also use Pinterest and Etsy as tools to help find products. I use Google Keyword Planner, Ubersuggest, and a lot of other free tools as well. And again, I have videos on those. But for Helium 10 and Launch, I pay for 1 month, which traditionally are around $97 and $51 respectively. But I use my own coupon codes. And by the way, I'm going to include those promo codes in case you're interested. They are affiliate links, so just letting you know that I'd really appreciate your support. Those are in the description as well. So with those kind of affiliate links, with those promo codes, I get a discount on each of those tools. Okay, but I do use both of those. Very, very powerful, highly accurate, and those really help me basically see, or identify high demand, low competition opportunities on Amazon. Patent research. This is something very important that's rarely talked about. Very, very, very important. I actually had a product, one of my first products, that had a patent infringement claim on it, and we had to take it down, which really, really sucked. And we've kind of resolved that and everything, but we could have avoided that with proper patent research. So you want to make sure that if you have an idea for a product, even if there's a bunch of options already being sold on Amazon or online, you want to make sure that you're not going to infringe on any existing design or utility patents. So you want to make sure you do proper patent research. Now you could do this yourself. And if it kind of depends. Again, I'm not a legal expert, so I can't really help you in that area. But for certain very basic, there's certain things that are a little bit more common sense in my view than other things that are a little bit more complex. So for the more complex issues, you definitely want to hire, a professional attorney and utilize their services, which can be at least around $150 or more. It can easily be more than that. And then on a low, I've actually used someone in the past from Fiverr for $20 to do some very basic patent research, but it's very thorough, and it kind of helps me know whether there are any, just so I know if there are any potential patent infringements whatsoever, both existing and pending patents. Okay, so very important. So total product research costs on the high end will be about $298, low end $112, and by the way, it can definitely even be lower than that. You can utilize just free tools completely. So just if you just want to get completely started, you can get started for completely free prior to setting up your business, ordering products, shipping, all that kind of good stuff. And the average is about $205, right? Kind of in that product research phase. And that's the average for us, and likely the average for you if you're starting with Amazon FBA private label. Okay, next set of costs. I know it's a little bit long-winded. I'll be a little bit quicker on these other ones. Setting up your Amazon business. So there's other things that you can incur, like insurance and things like that, but really for the basics, right? Number one, a logo design, right? You want a professional logo that you'll likely use on your packaging, your website, your social media accounts, things like that. You could try to design it yourself if you have graphic design experience like my wife does, so she really helps me out in that area. But if you don't, you're likely going to run anywhere between $85 to $200 for a logo. Again, it could absolutely be more. You can get it for less, but this is just the average range that I found. So it's an average about $143 for a logo. To form an LLC, you could utilize a service like LegalZoom or do this yourself. I would recommend doing it yourself. I filed an LLC in my home state, which is Ohio, for $125. That was the filing fee. Everything else I did for free. Really, really easy to set up. It was really not difficult at all. And I saved a little bit of money there, but you could utilize the service. And for those of you who don't know what an LLC is, it is essentially a business form, very basic business form. I think in the United States it may be the most common, but essentially divides your personal assets from your business assets. So God forbid this happens, but if someone were to sue you, they couldn't go after your personal assets. They could only go after your business assets, which your LLC kind of protects, or that's kind of one of the reasons for doing that. So again, I'm not a legal expert. I'm not going to go into a ton of depth, but that's just a little overview, right? Just kind of setting up a business, basically cost of setting up a legal, real business, employer identification number, all that kind of stuff. And again, if you're not in the United States, it's going to be a little bit different for you. So just keep that in mind. And then also keep in mind, to get started, you'll want to set up a professional Seller Central account. This is $40 a month. You could start with the individual plan. The way the individual plan is set up, I forget exactly what it is because I don't use it and I haven't really kept up on it, but I believe it's like free, but then you pay Amazon $1 per unit sold. So you could start off with an individual account and then switch on later if you want to save a little bit of money to an Amazon professional seller account. But for me personally, I like to just get it from the start. So I just have the cost here. It's $40 a month. That's kind of one of the costs of kind of doing business on Amazon, right? So setting up your business. So product research, we found a product, we want to go after it, we're interested, then maybe at that point we set up our business. Or maybe you want to reach out to suppliers first before setting up your business. It kind of happens. It's just something I want you to keep in mind, but it's really ultimately up to you. All right, and I'm gonna have a big reveal at the end, so don't worry, of all the costs combined. So you don't need to do this yourself. I'll do that for you. So production costs, actually manufacturing and getting your product created, because you have this idea, you want to go and get it created. There's more than just making the thing, right? There's more than just that, okay? And I'm going to kind of break it down here. And keep in mind, this section in particular, this is where you will either, where it's going to cost you more or cost you less than what I've provided here. There's going to be, it completely depends on how competitive your category is, the type of product that you have, the type of supplier that you partner with, right? So basically, how fast they can produce and ship your unit, if it's lightweight, if it's heavier, if you have really high demand and you have to constantly be ordering new units, if it's a little bit less demand. So it's definitely going to depend. This is not this is just based on our experience ourselves and in speaking with other Amazon sellers. But keep in mind, all of these costs can be higher or lower. But this is a very, in our view, very, very accurate and very realistic set of numbers. Okay, so the first cost with manufacturing is product costs. So again, this will vary the most. It can be totally different for you. But in general, we found for ordering kind of our first set of units to ship into Amazon will cost anywhere from between $2,000 to $5,000. Again, that's very, very general. So about $3,500 on average. Now, if you want to, and here's a little tip for you, if you're getting started with Amazon FBA and you're getting overwhelmed already by the costs, something that you can do is the two things I would highly recommend that you do for every new Amazon seller. Okay, number one, intentionally find products that are smaller and lightweight. That's not going to be easy. It's going to take more time than finding certain other products. However, in general, smaller, lighter products are going to cost less to produce. They can, depending on what they are, of course, can get produced faster than heavier, larger items and more complex items, right? They're faster to ship, cheaper to store, all of those things, right? So overall, your product and shipping costs are going to be less if you specifically intentionally source and go after kind of smaller, lighter weight products. And what do I mean by smaller and lighter weight? A couple examples that kind of in my mind is, maybe like a pack of balloons or a wristband or a set of stickers, right? These are some examples of just some lighter weight products. But again, I'm not saying those are great ideas. I'm just saying those are some examples. So if you want to keep your product cost low, try to source that. It's going to take you more time, but just to learn, like kind of learn the ropes, learn how to sell on Amazon and online marketing in general, that could be a good place for you to start just to get, before you start making money, just to kind of, make a little bit of money and really learn in the process, and then use that learning to really go after something more competitive. And then maybe you're a little bit more confident to put more money down. So that's product costs. Packaging design. This depends on your product. Some products do not need beautiful package design. Others absolutely do. If you're going to source a more premium product, think something like a man's watch, right? You don't want the product to show up in a baggie, right? You want to have very nice, beautiful kind of product packaging. For product packaging, you can kind of think of Apple, specifically with iPhones. Beautiful, really, really well crafted packaging. And on average, we found on the higher end for us, package design will cost around $450. It can be a lot more than that, but that's a good kind of high, reasonable rate. And then again, if you don't need product packaging, $0. Okay, so an average of $225. So there's the package design. Then there's the cost of packaging to actually package your products. You can either have your supplier do this, or you may need to find another supplier to specifically design and create the packaging for you, and then ship those packages to your main supplier who's creating the product, and then have them put it together, right? So you may need two separate suppliers, one for packaging, one for product, or you may be able to do it both in the same, depending on the complexity and the type of product and all that kind of stuff, okay? So packaging costs generally, in total cost, like per kind of first order that we have, generally cost between $100 to $400. Again, for all these costs, make sure before you go into launching a product, make a short list of like 3 to 5 products that you're interested in launching, potentially, or you could just do 1 or 2 or 3, and then kind of write out the cost of everything I have here. Go ahead and copy this, and then estimate your real costs. And after you speak with suppliers and have better numbers and hard numbers on your end, then you can kind of compare and contrast with each other. That's what I'd recommend doing. But this is just a really kind of good overview, whether you're kind of deciding when and how and if you want to get into Amazon FBA and start selling on Amazon, which again, I believe is a fantastic opportunity, but I want to make sure you're prepared for the costs. Inspection service. So essentially, this is extremely important. Very, very important. You have to do this. So basically, an inspection service is a company that will come in and check your products before. It could either be during production or right after production, before they're shipped to the US. And if you're already in the US, then you could, potentially have this done right there in the US. But again, all of our products for right now are being shipped from China, right? We're getting them produced in China. So we make sure we hire a company called Topwind. They come in, they make sure that all the products are good to go. They pass inspection, and they give us a full detailed report in case anything's wrong. And if there are any issues, which a couple of times there are a couple minor issues that did come up, we have a report. And we had an agreement with the supplier that they would make all necessary changes before shipping. So it's very, very, very helpful to do. You can, imagine if you produce all these units, there's just one small defect in all of them. They get shipped to Amazon. All of your customers get these defective products. Guess what they're going to do? Write you a bunch of negative reviews. And guess what? If you already have a phenomenal listing and you have a good relationship with your suppliers, but guess what? There's new management, something went wrong. You get this bad batch of products into Amazon and out to your customers, and they all leave negative reviews. You could have been selling on Amazon for years with awesome reviews, awesome sales, and all of that. And that one instance, because you didn't hire an inspection service that one time, could completely destroy it. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Don't be afraid, be prepared. Then there's no reason to be afraid, right? There's always going to be risks, but it's going to really help mitigate risks. even if you have a strong relationship with the supplier. So highly, highly recommend. Just build it into your cost. Don't be afraid. Just be prepared. UPC barcodes. Okay, this is something else you'll need. Again, I have whole videos on this. I'm not going to go into a ton of depth, but you'll need to buy UPC barcodes for each product. So Amazon's terms of service require you to kind of register with GS1, to have a GS1 barcode, right? That's $250 plus a $50 annual fee, right? And that's $250. That's good for like 10 products, I believe. You could also use a company called Barcode Nation, and there's a lot of these other kind of resellers of GS1 certified barcodes, a lot more sketchy. It is clearly against Amazon's terms of service. So it's really up to you. Again, I would not recommend it. Okay, I would definitely recommend getting GS1 and building that into your cost. It is slightly more, but in the total grand scheme of things, it's absolutely worth it, and it'll save a lot of pain down the road. But some new sellers I know, they have the mindset of, I just want to see if this Amazon thing works. I just want to see if I can make money on Amazon. So they go really cheap, on all these kind of different things just to see if it works. But that's not what I recommend doing. I'd recommend using GS1. I just kind of want to let you know, if someone says, oh, I got my barcodes for $15, and you're like, well, Sumner, you said that they were $250. Are you a liar? No, I just want to kind of make you aware of that. So, $250 for the barcode. Yeah, it's not cheap, but it is worth it. And then product sample. So again, of course, before you make a deal or an agreement or a partnership with a supplier, you want to make sure that you can touch, feel, and see that the product is good before you begin production. Okay, and the way that you do that, or one of the ways that you do that, there's a few ways. You want to make sure you get videos and images, but you want to make sure you order a product sample from your supplier. Basically, after you've kind of worked with them and negotiated with them, and you have a product that meets your expectations or criteria. You want to make sure that you don't just see it on WeChat or WhatsApp videos or images. You want to actually hold that product. So you're going to ask for a few samples from them. It's usually about $30 to $100 per sample. Again, depending on what your product is, it's going to definitely vary based on the cost. For an average of about $60 to $65 per sample. So if you're only getting a sample from one supplier, then it's the one-time fee. If it's 3 different, then you kind of multiply it by 3, etc. Okay. So that's kind of manufacturing costs. Again, that's where the majority of the costs are really going to kind of come in overall, well, between production and shipping costs. So that's where you really have room to really reduce down. Again, like I recommended before, really it is completely possible to find lighter weight, less competitive products. There are honestly plenty out there online of ideas that you can do just to start to keep your costs as low as possible, and just really to use it to learn and to see, oh my gosh, this whole Amazon FBA thing works. You can make money on Amazon, absolutely you can. And you can make a lot of money off of Amazon too, which I'll have more content about that in the future, but not for this video. So that covers manufacturing costs. Don't worry guys, we're almost there. Shipping, I know it seems just like a lot of money, oh my gosh, but I do this. This is completely worth it to me. This is honestly, if you're doing this the right way, it's one of the greatest opportunities in this decade. I know you're probably looking at all these costs and being like, oh my gosh, this is crazy, but this is so, all this investment is completely worth it to me and my wife. This is actually where the majority of our income comes right now, although we're working to really diversify off of Amazon and change that. But it's our number one and our biggest source of income, and it's an incredible opportunity. So I just kind of a midway kind of point of inspiration, because you might be feeling down with all these costs, but I'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. So shipping costs. You found your product, got it made, or you kind of figured out what product you're going to sell, got it made, and now you're ready to ship it from China to the United States. So these are shipping costs specifically from China to the United States for us on average. Again, can completely depend. So just keep that in mind. Hold off in the comment section. So shipping costs on average range between $850 to $1,400 for air shipping from China to the United States, to Amazon's warehouse. Okay. Another little fee to keep in mind is the transactional fee. So if you're using something like PayPal, Alibaba Trade Assurance, which I would recommend some kind of safe form of payment, especially if it's overseas, you're going to probably pay on average about 4% of the total kind of production costs. So just keep that in mind. Like I said, transactional fees alone will range between, around $125 to $300, somewhere in that range. On average is about $200. So just kind of keep that in mind, just keep all these costs in mind. Okay. Next, we have listing creation and optimization. All right. So, we have our products produced, they're being shipped, and really kind of before they're being shipped, you're going to create your listing. So you want to make sure that you have beautiful, stunning, professional images, phenomenal copywriting, and a well-optimized listing in terms of keyword optimization. So Amazon SEO optimized listing. Because number one, you want to make sure that you have keywords that people are typing into Amazon to find your product, that you're showing up, that you have them in your listing, so your listing can show up for those keywords, right? Basically, so you can get found by people who want to buy your product. So that's number one. Number two is once they find you, you need to convince them. The way that you convince them to buy, so one is getting found, the other one is convincing. How you convince them to buy is with beautiful, stunning, incredible images. You do not want to skimp out on that. And then copywriting, meaning basically the text or the copy, your bullet points, your description, your title, all that kind of good stuff. So in order to do this, I use seller tools for my keyword research. So I want to find, what keywords are people typing in every single day into Amazon to find my product or similar related products. And I want to make sure that those keywords are put in my listing. So 1 month of seller tools. And again, the reason it's only 38 is because I have a coupon code below. Yes, it's another affiliate link in case you're interested. So $38 for 1 month of seller tools. Or what I'd recommend doing is they also have a free 14-day trial that's really, really powerful. That's a great way to get started. In my opinion, seller tools is the best Amazon keyword research tool and listing optimization tool on the market. Yes, right now I do believe it's better than Helium 10 because number one, it's free for 14 days. Number two, it's the functionality. I don't want to go into too much detail, but the functionality is the user friendliness is much better than Helium 10 in my opinion. And number three, I don't know if they're more accurate, I would say, than Helium 10, but they're highly, highly accurate in terms of keyword estimation. So it can be as little as $0, really, really inexpensive. For product photography, you'll likely range between $450 to $750. There are absolutely sellers who pay a lot less than $450 for product photography, but I can almost guarantee you, you are missing out on serious sales. Guys, if you sell anything online, it doesn't matter what it is, product images and product video are arguably the most important aspect of conversions, right? People can't see your product, they can only see your product, they can't touch it, taste it, hear it, smell it. So because of that, images are so crucial. Do not skimp out. Even if you're just kind of running a test order, you just want to test Amazon FBA to see if this really works, to make sure this isn't a scam. This can determine whether you succeed or fail alone, right? If you do everything else right and your images are crap, you will still fail, right? Not necessarily, but just keep that mindset because you're significantly likely to fail if you really skimp out on images. But really, it's not that expensive in the grand scheme of things, and it is a one-time fee. So keep all that in mind that a lot of these costs are one-time fees just to get started, to get up and running. So just keep that in mind. That these aren't recurring every single month necessarily. So we have the keyword research tool, product photography, copywriting. I do copywriting myself. I write every single day. I enjoy writing. I could absolutely be better, and I'm hoping to continue to improve my copywriting skills as time goes on. But I've hired an agency before twice, and I felt that I did a better job at the end of the day. Although I probably should have A/B tested it. But so you can do it for free yourself. But if you're really not gifted at writing, especially maybe if you're trying to sell on Amazon US, English is your second language, and you're trying to target your product appeals toward English-speaking Americans. Then I definitely would recommend hiring a copywriting service. It does not need to be that expensive. I've used ad zombies in the past. Again, I felt personally that I did a better job. That's my own experience, but you could hire them. They're $89 and they do still do a very good job. So that's who I'd recommend for copywriting. There are others out there as well. If you know of any good copywriters or anything else, comment below. So copywriting, and then lastly, A/B testing. A/B testing your Amazon listing is extremely important, yet so few sellers do it. It's such low-hanging fruit. It's so powerful, okay? I've made a lot more money and my conversion rate has gone way up by A/B testing my listing, and I'm still A/B testing it. And just really briefly, if you don't know what A/B testing is, basically what you do is you change one aspect of your Amazon listing, and then you basically show, so for example, your main image. So you have one main image, and then you have a different variation of that main image, and then you basically A/B test, and everyone who visits your listing, 50% of them see one image, 50% of them see the other image. And then you find out which image gets people to ultimately buy your product, right? So you can do this with your image, with your pricing, with your bullet points, your description, with so many different aspects of your listing. And little changes over time can actually have a huge and really great impact on your profit and sales. So I highly recommend it. And what's great is there's a free A/B testing tool specifically for Amazon sellers, at least at the making of this video, called Sellerly. So that's $0. I personally use Splitly. The reason I use Splitly is because instead of A/B testing, they use something called multiple regression analysis to find your ideal price point. Essentially, trying to find which price point is highest correlated with the most profit. So that's why I like to use them. But again, they are a little bit more expensive. So if you want to save some money, I would recommend Sellerly. If you want potentially to really test your Amazon price point, get Splitly, figure out what your ideal price point is, and then cancel the subscription. That's what I'd recommend doing. Affiliate link below. Appreciate the support. Again, I only promote things that I actually use and find extremely valuable. So that's kind of listing creation and optimization. On average, probably around 700, 450 on the low end, 970 around, less than 1,000 definitely on the high end. We've definitely paid a lot less than 1,000 for all of our listings. And again, a lot of these are kind of the one-time costs, so keep that in mind. And we're right there, almost at the end. Lastly, so we've figured out what product we want to sell. We've got that product produced, or at least a test order of that produced. We have it shipped to Amazon. We have a beautiful, stunning, incredible, well-optimized listing. Your products get into Amazon's warehouse. They're ready to be sold. Your listing is active. Now what do you do, right? Now you need to launch your product. Now you need to begin ranking on the first page for your top keywords, or at least for keywords that are being searched. Essentially, when you're a brand new product, Amazon doesn't know if you're good or not, right? So if you want Amazon to show you to their customers, you have to prove to them that you are a good product, that you're a good seller, right, and have a good product. Okay, so it's really that simple. And the way that you do that, there are a lot of different ways, and I'm going to be putting a lot more videos. I've already had a few this month that I've put up, very, very powerful, like exact case studies of what I've used to rank. And again, this is why I've said if any of you are already in my Amazon FBA course, if you've watched any of my YouTube videos, Facebook posts, anything like that, you know that I stress especially for first-time sellers, especially to focus on for your first product to sell on Amazon, low competition markets. So many new people, they look at these like numbers, all these other sellers making like a ton of money, right? Just on Amazon alone, and they kind of get blinded. They're like, oh my gosh, I can do this too. Yes, you can in theory, but if you're not an Olympic athlete, right, and you expect to go compete with Olympic athletes just right off the bat without any training, what do you think is going to happen? You're going to lose miserably. Same thing with Amazon. You see how they're all doing so well. Yeah, because they're Olympic athlete sellers, and you're not yet. You need the training wheels before you can ride the bike on its own, right? So in order to learn, and if you want less headache, it's less money to produce and ship overall. It can be more fun, right? It's great in so many ways. Less you're going to spend on product launches and less stress on product launches. All of this stuff can all be solved. You'll have a better, easier life if you're a first-time seller, if you just focus and sell a product in a less competitive market. I have a bunch of videos on that in case you're interested. So with that being said, those are the type of products that we launch. So this is where we get our product launch kind of data, our estimates from. But we're going to continue to use other product launch methods in the future, especially building and nurturing an email list and a ManyChat list. That's something that's really big on our list. But for now, again, kind of going in line with some of the previous videos I made this month, here are a few different ways that we launch some of our less competitive products, right? And the more competitive it's going to be, it's going to definitely cost you more than even the high cost here. But every month on PPC for new products, we spend around on average about $1,000 on PPC. For Google Ads, we spend around $125. However, here's a little tip. When you sign up for Google Ads, okay, you can actually get a $100 credit. So you spend $25, they give you $100 free. So you spend $25 and really you're spending $125 worth of ads. And essentially how that works, if you're not familiar, and I should backtrack just a second, Amazon PPC, basically it's Amazon advertising. You pay Amazon to show your listing on certain keywords and for certain products, right? So you pay Amazon, and because of that, you get more exposure and therefore ultimately more sales. And there's a way of optimizing and kind of figuring out how to really be the most profitable and most efficient with it. But Amazon PPC is low-hanging fruit. I think every Amazon seller should be doing it to some capacity, but not necessarily only relying on Amazon PPC or even making it the majority of their product launch strategy. I don't believe that at all. But Amazon PPC, Google Ads, you spend about $125. Similar idea. Basically, you create a very simple ad on Google that directs to your Amazon listing. And when you're launching, you spend money for that. When people type in these specific keywords, you're paying Google to show up for those keywords or for your ad to show up. A percentage of people click on the ad. They go to Amazon, they buy your product on Amazon. It's really that simple. It's just a way to generate some more sales, maybe before you have reviews, or maybe as you're starting to get some reviews and you're brand new to Amazon. So Amazon PPC, Google Ads, on Facebook and ManyChat rebates. I probably won't be using rebates in the future, maybe at all. But we've used it very successfully, and it is a way to rank and generate reviews potentially. Although be careful there. And we've spent about on average about $350 for a less competitive product to launch those. Early reviewer program. To get your initial sales, I highly recommend every single seller utilize the early reviewer program. Essentially what it is you pay Amazon themselves $60, and then they will go out and ask your customers to leave you a review, and a percentage of them will. And basically you pay $60, and I think Amazon guarantees 5 reviews. I have to look back at it again. But basically you pay $60, you get 5 honest reviews. And the time range can change. Some sellers, it's taken up to a year for them. For me, I got all of our reviews for one of our products within literally, after signing up, in like 2 weeks. The other, I think it was in less than a month, I got all 5 reviews, and actually got more than 5 reviews, which I don't really know how that worked, but that's a way to kind of generate some reviews. So early review program, it's going to help you get some reviews. There's rebates, there's Google Ads, there's Amazon PPC, there's a lot of others. And again, this is for less competitive products and less competitive markets, which if you're watching this, you're probably a newer seller. That's what you should be going after. So it shouldn't cost you more than this, but it absolutely can. And there are plenty, many Amazon sellers that they spend a lot more than this on product launches. But I'm extremely frugal and calculated with exactly what I need. And again, I have videos on this that explain exactly how and why. All right. A couple last things really quick. I know it's a lot. I thank you. I appreciate you bearing with me. I hope this has been helpful thus far. Something that a lot of new sellers don't keep in mind that we didn't, and even I had a video on this and I took down the video and redid it because I want to make sure it was as accurate and up to date as possible, is placing reorders. Okay, so you need to think about it. Amazon pays out every 2 weeks. But even then, when Amazon pays you, they withhold some money from you for quote unquote like potential returns. All right. So meaning, hey, here's how much you made, but some of these people that bought your product could return it in the next 30 days or whenever. So we're going to hold some money back. And on average, I think we find my wife handles all the finances. But I think it's about 20 to 40%. I want to say about 30% they withhold on average. So you get paid you don't get paid every day, you get paid every 2 weeks. And then when you get that Amazon deposit, you may only be getting 60 or 70% of that total 100% money that you're owed at that time. So what does that mean, right? You're going to get paid. Don't worry, you're going to get paid. But you just don't get paid immediately or as quickly. So what that means is you need to have a little bit of cash on hand for your next order. Because basically when you place an order, it goes into Amazon. It's selling, that's great. You have to place a reorder before your stock sells out. Because think about it. I'm just making this up, but let's say it takes 30 days for your product to get produced. All right. So you have your product at Amazon, it's selling, that's great. You're making sales, you're excited, it's awesome. And then you realize, oh, I have 30 days left of product left, right? If I keep selling at this rate, I'll have enough inventory for 30 days. Well, guess what that means? That day, you have to place a reorder. Because think about it, it takes 30 days for new products to get into Amazon, and you have 30 days left to sell on Amazon before you run out of stock. Then you need to reorder right now because you're going to be selling. You placed a new order, and then they're going to come in right at that 30-day mark. I hope that makes sense. I have videos on it, so if you want to know more about that, I don't want to get too much into the weeds. But basically, you need to place a reorder for new products before you sell out. So if you ordered 500 units and you have 499 units left, it's too late, right? You're going to run out of stock, and that's not going to be helpful to you. You can still do that, right? You don't necessarily need to place a reorder, but I would definitely recommend it just because there are a lot of negatives to running out of stock on Amazon. Amazon, is going to favor. So Amazon wants to make money. They make money off you. You make money off of them, right? So if you're out of stock, Amazon can't make any money off of you. So guess what? They're going to find other people to make money off of, which means they're going to benefit other people more than you. They're going to say, hey, these other sellers are more important than him or her because they're staying in stock. I can keep making money off of them. They keep running out of stock. I don't want to help them, meaning I don't want to help boost them in the search results. I don't want to show them to more of our customers because they're not helping us. Just a way to think about it. So do keep reorders in mind. Again, it's going to completely depend on your lead time. It's going to depend on how your shipping times, your product type, all that kind of stuff. So just keep that in mind. I just want you to think about, oh yeah, like when I place my order, I'm going to need a reorder before I run out of stock. So just keep that in mind and make sure that you have cash on hand because you're not going to get all that money from Amazon right away. You'll get it, just not right away. So just keep that in mind. Hopefully that changes in the future. That would really help out with cash flow. But guys, that's why cash flow is king. If you have no idea what cash flow means, or no idea what I'm talking about lead time, reorders, definitely look that up. Very, very important to know for business overall, which I've learned kind of the hard way, but that's why I'm telling you now. Lastly, Amazon course. You do not need to spend $5,000 on an Amazon course. You do not need to spend $2,000, and you do not need to spend even $100. I have an Amazon course for $20 on Udemy in case you're interested. But I'm not really trying to promote it. I'm just letting you know you could literally learn everything for free online. I would highly recommend that you do that. And that could actually be better, and you'll learn more valuable information than buying a $5,000 course. So just keep that in mind. You do not need to pay thousands of dollars or even $1,000 or even hundreds of dollars for an Amazon FBA course. There's, again, a lot of free content out there online. Feel free, go and consume as much free content as possible before you put any money into buying a course, even mine. But like I said, if you're interested, check out my course. I have all the reviews are right there. It's 20 hours long. It's a 4.6 out of 5-star rating. It's $20. All that kind of good stuff. I'll have a link in the description below if you're interested. But again, I'm really not trying to promote it. I'm just letting you know to hopefully save you some money. I wish I had it when I started out. And again, the average kind of Amazon FBA course is $9.97. You don't need to pay for that. All right. So with all that being said, kind of that last caveat, and again, like I said, you can literally pay $0 and get started. But I would recommend at least learning. You're going to learn a lot, at least in my course. And there are other inexpensive courses out there. Like Brock Johnson has a great course as well for a similar price point. I think it's like $10. So just, letting you know. Anyway, why you came to this video, right? Finally, the last review, which I'm sure you've already looked at as I was blabbering on, the real cost of Amazon FBA. So what is the real cost of Amazon FBA? All right. So we'll look at it in kind of two sections. One with reordering, the other without reordering. Okay. So with reordering, on average, okay, expect to have $14,224 on hand. Okay. Some of that's going to be for reorders, right? It's not going to be right away. And other of that is going to be for your actual, initial product costs. And also keep in mind, remember what I said, is that you're going to have some one-time costs. For example, your logo design, setting up your business, for your product research on the outside for your first product, all that kind of stuff, right? All those are one-time costs. Your product photography, your copywriting, all of that's one-time costs. You don't have to incur it. So that's why it is going to be more money at the beginning to start than to keep it going. Okay, so just keep that in mind, just for a little bit of reassurance. But including with reordering, on average about a little over $14,000. The low end is a little bit less than $8,000. The high end is around $21,000, right? So kind of expect to have that much cash on hand to get into Amazon private label. Again, can you get started with a lot less than $8,000? I mean, a lot less. I don't know what that really would look like, but yes, you can. But again, like I said, if you want to get started for less than $8,000, really target lighter weight, less competitive products, right? For example, instead of going in with the mindset, I want to make $40,000 a month in revenue from one product. There are sellers who do, and you can. Is it common? No. Is it recommended for first-time sellers? Absolutely not. What I'd recommend doing is, again, like trying to aim for even just making a few $100s a month in profit, I should say, not in revenue, but a few $100s a month in profit, just to see how everything works, just to learn. I paid $40,000 for a college tuition, so it's negative $40,000, where I could have made or $200, or even if I lost $1,000 in Amazon FBA. Basically, I paid Amazon FBA for $1,000 tuition in learning how to sell products on Amazon versus $40,000 for in my opinion, completely useless marketing degree. Obviously, I'm a little bit bitter about that. So just some perspective for you. So that's with reordering. Without reordering, however, let's say, again, this isn't recommended, but let's say, hey, Sumner, I just want to see if this whole Amazon FBA thing works. And I really don't have a lot of money, or the more common answer, I really don't want to put a lot of money, which is totally understandable. So something you could do is just completely place a test order, which is a very low amount, send it into Amazon and just let it run out of stock and just let it see if it works or not, right? So that's something you can do as well. Not recommended, but going that route, right? The real cost of Amazon FBA without reordering, on average, is about $8,000. That's the average. Lower end, about $5,000, and the higher end, $11,400. Again, you can definitely get your costs low, going after less competitive, lighter weight, smaller types of products. Just keep that in mind. There are other sellers who have, but really, if this really kind of scares you, if you're like, oh my gosh, this is a lot more than I thought, what I'd highly recommend doing is not going and buying my course and going and putting a bunch of money down. I would really look into online or retail arbitrage. Again, where you kind of buy name brand products really inexpensively and then resell them online for more. This is a lot less money to get started, guys. A lot less than private labeling. You'll also you'll definitely make less. It's not as scalable, and I don't think it's a long-term solution whatsoever. But it's a great way to learn, a great way to get started with a low amount of money. That's number one. Number two is you can learn Amazon FBA skills and help businesses make more on Amazon. That's actually one of my income streams. Is I actually help existing businesses that are even making a lot more than my wife and I are on Amazon, and we're able to help them make even more. Because it's our main source of income. We are so, I'm in the Amazon FBA space every day. You can learn Amazon FBA. So for example, you could take my course, watch my videos, whatever, start reaching out to companies that sell on Amazon via LinkedIn, via wherever, and saying, hey, I would love to help you with your business. I'm just getting started. I'm looking for some reviews. So essentially what I would do is I would help you for free in these areas. Like maybe you set up a ManyChat sequence for them, or maybe you re-optimize their listing, or you A/B test their photos or their price point or things like that. Little simple things. In return, for an honest review, do that with 5 clients. You now have 5 honest reviews. They're super happy with you, and maybe you say, hey, if you want to continue this relationship, blah blah blah. We can pay, et cetera, et cetera. So essentially, consulting. You can do that. There's a very scammy way of doing it, and there's a very honest way of doing it. I'd recommend going the honest route. So consulting for businesses on Amazon, that's number one. That's actually the cheapest to get started. It's very, very real. There's a huge, in my view and what I've seen, there's a huge demand for it. I think you're going to see more content coming out about this, and it's going to become more popular, but get it before it is popular. So that's number one, Amazon consulting. Number two, retail online arbitrage. Or number three, just accept the fact that if you want to achieve your dreams, if you want to, make a lot of money and build a real business, it is going to take either or both a lot of time or a decent amount of money. Either one or the other or both. You cannot get it any other way. So, and what I mean by time is you can be very successful online with time, right? Start creating content. Create content on Pinterest, on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, on all these platforms, right? It's free to do, but keep in mind, for you to become really successful and to start, having a large enough audience that you can make money off of, it's going to take a lot of time and a lot of effort, but it is free. Where in the other way, right? For example, just on another extreme, real estate or maybe the stock market, if you have a ton of money, you can make a lot more money from that money by investing it into those platforms. But really for me, in terms of that time and money amount, in all seriousness, one of the best, if not arguably the best that I've ever seen is your own private label products on Amazon for both a monthly cash flow perspective, as well as the ability, you can start on Amazon, then diversify off and really build an actual real e-commerce business, a real brand. You can sell that for whatever, X multiple to an investor later down the road. So you have the monthly cash flow, that monthly kind of income, that profit coming in. And then you can also sell that later to an investor for a pretty big sum. It makes more sense for me, and you can do more research yourself, to invest in Amazon FBA private label than for me to invest in real estate. In total seriousness, again, from that cash flow and kind of that, I don't know if it would be considered capital gains or whatever. Again, I'm not a big real estate guy. I've just looked into kind of some of the basic numbers. But I'm sure I'm sure in the future I will invest in real estate, just not right now. And that's just my perspective. So again, I know I'm droning on here, but I hope this was helpful. If you guys have any questions at all, be sure to leave those in the comments below. If there's anything that I forgot, which hopefully I did not, be sure to help the community out. Leave a nice comment below. Feel free to be critical, just not overly critical, and just help the community out with any insights, questions, anything else that you have. Be sure to subscribe for more content like this, more in-depth, real, nothing fake. I want everything here to be as transparent, honest, and real as possible. So be sure to subscribe and like this video for more. I really appreciate you taking the time. Again, hope this was helpful, and I look forward to seeing you in future videos.